Oh, you mean the points here? Shields can only be put on two different ways. Okay? They're either strapped or they're centigrade. That's because people frown on nailing them to your arm. So, when you place these on, that's the weakest point in that grip, right? If you hold your arm out like that, I can push on here and push on here, but if I tilt your arm this way, it's locked. So the tilt. Thumb always goes out. So if you thumb out this way or thumb out that way, it's always locked. Your arm doesn't like to go that way. It's about subtlety as well. You want to manipulate that shield subtly. You don't want to crash the shield this way, crash it back like you see in the movies. It doesn't work. If they don't know what's happening to them, all the better. They don't know what's happening. You have a question?
Yeah, I don't know if I was jumping ahead, but is it all the same as well as something on their knees?
Yes. A lot of it is. The lines will change, and the lines will change depending on how tall you are, right? Especially compared to your opponent. So if I have one of these, do I have one of those? Here, I'll have this one. This guy. So if I have this, right? I should not use this shield. I'm not tall enough to use this shield. Because the weak line being here and here is all well and good, but I'm not tall enough to guard this line. Right? Havet can use this shield because he's 6'6". This is a Horseman Shield. It was built to be on horseback. It's curved so you can look over the top of it while you're stroking peasants and going by. Good times. It's a shield from the year 1000. Right? When leg armor was scarce, and they stopped using the greave for a while. They used padded gamisons. Alright? Gamois cuisines. Padding and woven woolen batting into their wraps and their shins, and not much knee protection. So they had to have the long shield to come all the way down, and they rode it on horseback like this so they could see. But once you get on foot, all that dynamic changes. So we have to understand why the shield is like it is. What was it used for? And if you decide to use it anyway, accept those weaknesses and realize what their weakness is. I would never take the shield out against him. He'd crush me in the head, no matter how good I am. Unless I had a spear, and this was strapped on my back for 45, and he was sleeping. But the type of shields that we use have to directly influence how we're fighting with them. Right? If this shield is small and it's round and I'm short, my head's going to get crushed. The closer I get to somebody who's taller than me, the more, it doesn't matter if this is the strong line, it's only strong enough for me to block it to here. Past that, I have to use my sword for everything. If I'm blocking with my sword, I'm not fighting. I'm blocking. I'm not attacking. Yes?
Isn't a shorter person?
A shorter person should use something with a corner on it. A shorter person should use, a shield that's more maneuverable. That shield right there is this one. The strong line is at the very top, usually because you're on horseback or you're tall. Everybody tries to always blow through. How many people here have fought Havet? Everybody tries to blow through the tail. Don't do that. 101 on how to kill a Havet. Right here in the side straps, right here, good to go. But once the elbows and the body have to move, the shield starts getting weak because the more he has to tilt it, the more of those lines will open up around his body, right? So, if this shield is weak up and strong here, and I have to do that with it, now that line just opened up. You understand what I'm saying? If this is the strong line here, and I throw a rat or something over here and make him turn it like that, this just opened up. That's the next line I go for. Does that make sense? And the pivot point's the same. Always look for those bolts. Always look for the bolts. So yeah, if you're not a tall person, having a shield that's very, very weak and not as mobile is really difficult for you. You can still use it, nobody says you can't, but understand that there are a lot of challenges for using a shield like that. A lot of them. Alright? And so using something lighter or more mobile. Now I'll give you something else. When we started using, and I know the aluminum versus wood debate, and I'm not a real big fan of aluminum either. My aluminum shield is 2-ply, because I want the weight to be right. And because this is my 4th indestructible shield, and I keep sending him back, because his idea of indestructible and my idea of indestructible are not the same. What What we did find, though, especially with our lady fighters, is that using a lighter shield ups the aggression by a good 80%.
Bear in mind, we have 50% of our population are ladies.
Yeah, 50% of our fighter practices are ladies. We run about 50-50. And so...
No, Lady Nike residents.
So, it's one of those where we go... My Squire Mullen, for instance, is 5'4" and a $110. Very small frame. And we had her blue shields, and she was constantly throwing and hucking the shield back up. Throwing and hucking the shield. Throwing and hucking the shield. We put an oval on her, center grip oval on her, aluminum, and her aggression level went through the roof. Because now she's constantly fighting and she stays put. She's not constantly losing her defense. She feels she keeps staying back up. And shot through the roof. Big, huge shields like that, whatever. They can wear them. They can use them if they want to. But for smaller frames, smaller sized people, having a shield that is light, like it's supposed to be anyway, shields aren't heavy. Medieval shields were a ½ inch maybe, usually of linen wood, of some other stuff, unless you got some Viking oak or something. But high Middle Ages shields weren't heavy. They weren't meant to go through battle after battle after battle. You didn't go to the fireplace, take your shield off here, son. This has done me well through the wars. It didn't survive. We don't have but maybe one or two, maybe extant examples of fighting shields in the museums. They didn't survive because they were disposable. They were made to be disposable. So they shouldn't be super, super heavy. And I know people that will make things, this will last you your entire career. It shouldn't. It should be destroyed. We use a lot of things that are heavier than the actual period. And that's fine because we want them to last. We can't have a light, thin helmet that we only need to last 1 or 2 battles or 1 campaign. We use 12-gauge helmets because we want them to last for years. Medieval helmets didn't weigh 20 pounds. They weighed 6. If that. Medieval armor was light. It was even thinner in the arms. But because we want it to last, we make that trade-off. That's fine. But the shield itself should be light. And they say, well, I don't want it to get blown all over the place. Well, that depends on how you're blocking with it. For every weakness that the shield has, it has a strength. For every weakness it has a strength. And those strengths are what makes the shield work. So if I have a shield like this, doesn't matter how it's strapped, you can throw shots. And it doesn't matter what the weight of the shield is. If she throws from the leg and I block it like this, it's going to tilt. But if I block it right across the strong line of the shield as she goes, it's not. Because that edge is taking all the vibration through the shield. The shield's doing what it's supposed to do. Most shields were meant to catch edges. They're meant to catch swords because this is a sucky medieval position. If you catch it for ½ a second, you have that ½ a second to destroy your enemy. That's what they were used for. We have count after count after account of tournaments and fights where the shield was broken asunder by many heavy blows. Because he used it to the utmost. To block and let it get hacked away while he bought time to kill his opponent. And so when we use our strong edge of the shields, no matter what type it is, we want to use them to their fullest. If they're willing to line up straight on and throw at me in the corner, fantastic. I have all day to figure out how to tell you. But if I do something like this and pull it straight across, I have to account for that. I have to account that this is my weakest line. And I need to be aware of it. I need to position my body so where I don't have to worry about it as much. And just as the shield is weak here, it's strong here, and that's where I want to use it the most. It's strong here, and that's where I want to use it. It's strong here, and that's where I want to use it. So when that leg comes in, bang! Rotate behind it. We should always rotate behind the shield and use those strengths.